Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we'll talk about two V series from Vivo. We have the Vivo V25 which was launched recently, and we also have the Vivo V23 Pro which was launched early this year. So these are two devices launched within a gap of 6 months. The Vivo V23 Pro was launched in India in January 2022, and we have the Vivo V25 Pro launched this month. So around 6 months gap. So what are the differences between them? So this is not a comparison video by any sort. We are not going to compare these two phones, but we'll just list out the differences between these two devices when it comes to specification, what it offers. So this is definitely not a comparison video, but we'll be listing out what are the differences when it comes to Vivo V25 Pro compared to the Vivo V23 Pro. So let's begin. So before that, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's start. So you can see that both are really great looking devices out there. Now both have one similar aspect, the color changing back panel. We have talked about in our video the Vivo's V25 Pro. It has a color changing back panel, while the Vivo V23 Pro also features that. We have the black variant which does not feature that, but the Vivo V25 Pro we have is the blue color, and this features that. So that's the similar aspect between these two devices. So when it comes to design, let's see what are the differences between these two devices. Now here you can see that both the devices are finished in glass. You can see here this is a glass pack on these two devices. Both look really great in terms of design. The build quality, fit and finish, everything looks good, but the differentiating aspect between these two devices is the thickness. Now the Vivo V23 Pro is just 7.4 mm thick, while this is slightly thicker at 8.6 mm, and also Vivo V23 Pro is extremely lightweight at just 171 grams, while here we have 190 grams weight for the Vivo V25 Pro. Now both are finished in glass and looks really good. You can see here quite similar in terms of design elements, so nothing much changed. Now here you can see that the Vivo V23 Pro has a dual camera setup. You also get a notch like design for the dual camera setup, but here we have a single camera and a punch hole selfie camera. So that's one of the other differentiating aspect. Now in terms of display, both have AMOLED panels, almost similar display size as well, but the differentiating aspect is that Vivo V25 Pro comes with 120 Hz refresh rate, while the Vivo V23 Pro is 90 Hz refresh rate. So that's one of the major changes in terms of display, but otherwise both look quite similar. Even the colors looks very similar, but the refresh rate is something that differentiates between these two devices. So that was the display and the design. Now another differentiating aspect is the processor. Now the Vivo V23 Pro comes with the Dimensity 1200 chip with 8 and 12 GB RAM. Now here we have a Vivo V25 Pro with the Dimensity 1300 chip. There is a slight difference between 1200 and 1300. So that's one of the differentiating aspect between these two devices, and this also comes with 8 GB RAM and 128 GB storage, and also 12 GB RAM being offered. So that way both look similar, but the processor once again changes on these two devices. Now next differentiating aspect is the cameras. Now we have a 108 megapixel primary sensor on the Vivo V23 Pro. Now this is supported by an 8 megapixel ultra wide and 2 megapixel macro, and you get a 50 plus 8 megapixel dual selfie camera, 50 megapixel primary and 8 megapixel ultra wide angle selfie camera for the it's a dual camera setup. Here we have a 64 megapixel primary sensor on the Vivo V25 Pro, and it is supported by 8 plus 2 megapixel ultra wide and macro. Now here on the selfies we have a 32 megapixel selfie camera that's compared to the 50 megapixel dual camera on the Vivo V23 Pro. So if you look at the camera hardware, although there is a slight downgrade from 108 megapixel to 64 and dual selfie camera to single selfie camera, we found that the camera performance was definitely, or rather slightly better on the Vivo V25 Pro. Probably the iteration in terms of the camera optimizations probably has changed. We felt that the Vivo V25 Pro was slightly better overall in terms of camera performance. Both are really good in terms of camera, but our personal choice would be the Vivo V25 Pro. We are not going to do any comparison here. This is just a random observations. Now another differentiating aspect is the battery. Now the Vivo V V23 Pro comes with a 4300 mAh capacity battery, while the Vivo V25 Pro has upgraded battery with 4860 mAh capacity battery. That's 4860 milliamp hour battery. Now the charging speed has also been increased from 44 watt on the 23 Pro to 66 watt on the 25 Pro. So that's the battery aspect and also the charging speed. So there are some differences between these two devices. Some features have been upgraded, like the display has been upgraded, but the design thickness and the weight factor has been increased on the Vivo V25 Pro. Camera also, hardware level there is a downgrade, but performance looks very similar, and the processor has been upgraded on the Vivo V25 Pro. Now coming to the pricing, the Vivo V23 Pro still retails for around 37,999, that's 38,000 rupees, while the Vivo V25 Pro retails for 35,999, and you get around 3,500 ICICI card offer, which brings the pricing to almost like 32,500. It makes it pretty good in terms of pricing compared to the Vivo V23 Pro. So those are the differences between the Vivo V23 Pro and the Vivo V25 Pro. Do let us know if you have any other doubts regarding these two devices. We'll be happy to help you with your doubts. So that was the differences between Vivo V23 Pro and the Vivo V25 Pro. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.